Another movie I saw for the first time and really enjoyed was Elevator to the Gallows from 1958. It's a French film that apparently was relevant in the French New Wave of cinema, but definitely not as much as his other films since I never heard of it before. Similar to Get, the reason I came across this movie was because of my watchlist, and I also don't remember adding it. It was probably around 2015 since that's when I started adding classic or relevant films to it. Anyway, the premise is by far the most fascinating thing about this film. It's about a guy who's having an affair with his boss's wife. They decide to kill the boss so they can be together, and he does the deed and stages the crime as a suicide. But unfortunately, he forgets an important piece of evidence and needs to go back to retrieve it. And while he does this, the car he left running is stolen by a young couple. A man with a record as a petty criminal and a flower shop girl. And to make matters worse, the boss's wife, with whom our guy is having an affair, sees the car down the street, recognizes the girl, but doesn't get a good look at the guy, so she assumes that he's cheating on her with this young woman. And if you think this couldn't get any worse, you're wrong, because the main guy, while going back to retrieve that piece of evidence, gets stuck in an elevator because the caretaker of the building turned the power off for the weekend. And this is our premise, a series of unfortunate events for our protagonist. And if all of this doesn't leave you a little bit curious, then maybe this movie isn't for you. Because in terms of character, this film doesn't have a lot to offer. The story is really the strongest thing about the film. None of the characters felt particularly fascinating, and the performances weren't the best. The thing about older films is that sometimes the acting can come off a bit forced and way too theatrical to be taken seriously. It feels too rehearsed and unnatural. Now, if the tone matches the actors, then the movie can still work. But if the movie is a dead-end serious drama that requires the actors to deliver natural and authentic performances, then things don't always mesh well. And that's how I feel about this film. Not to say that all the performances were crappy or hard to take in, there are certainly moments where the actors lose themselves in the scenes and things feel right and natural. And even when the performances are too theatrical, it is still a million times better than bad acting like those kids from Jumanji: The Next Level. I'll take performances that come off a bit too rehearsed over whatever that movie was trying to do any day of the week. But in the end, I still prefer a film where the actors match the tone. For a black and white movie, I found the visuals great. I prefer when there's color, but sometimes this look works better, and sometimes the technology isn't there for colors yet. Regardless, from the framing to the camera work, I found the film visually engaging. I would even say it was more impressive than Roma. But then again, I didn't find Roma particularly impressive, so maybe that isn't a fair comparison. The story/plot is really the meat of the film. You think things couldn't get any worse for this guy, but then they do. And it's fun to watch the story unfold itself. I'm giving Elevator to the Gallows a 7 out of 10. I can't say I loved it, but the film was a hell of a ride, and it has too good of a premise to remain a secret. More people need to watch this. I can definitely see this being remade today and working. It's a great story. All that's left to do is to improve the characters and make sure their performances match the tone. Anyway, see you next time.